Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. Now, Poland's defense minister, Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, has announced that he has submitted an official proposal to his U.S. counterpart, Pete Hegseth, to establish a new permanent U.S. military base in Poland. Now, meanwhile, a recent report in the Financial Times notes that questions around NATO nuclear sharing arrangements and Poland's potential role have re-emerged in policy discussions as European security conditions continue to evolve. Now, the issue is being examined alongside broader debates on deterrence and alliance strategy in response to the war in Ukraine. Now, to discuss it all further, we're joined in the studio by Krzysztof Jaworski, Deputy Director at the Institute for Security and International Development. Good to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, Krzysztof, let's start with this proposal. I mean, we've had quite a wild few weeks with U.S. and Polish military relations. So what do you make of the defense minister's proposal? Is this something the Americans will bite on and take seriously?
Well, I refer to what I said several weeks ago when we discussed in the moment of when we were caught off guard and surprised by the information that there won't be the rotation of U.S. troops to Poland. I said that we should not only look at the picture but at the whole movie, and we are now in the next act of this movie. Of course, it's very important that the tide changed, and now we are in the moment when Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz is proposing to establish the stable presence of U.S. troops, U.S. base in Poland. At the same time, of course, it requires the continuous efforts of both sides and continuous assessment of interest of both sides. Well, we will see, of course, what will be the response of the United States. If they are able to accept our proposal, it's good for us because it's strengthening the deterrence of Poland against Russia. It's also strengthening the security guarantees. Well, it's good to mention in this moment that while alliance, and especially alliance with United States as the most potent military power in the world, is an important part of our security, but it's just a pillar. It's not like we should put everything on it. And now no one is no longer doing it, but there were times when in our discussions there were opinions that United States is like all we need to security, and we do not need to put effort in our own military, in our own spending, in our own training, in our own developing of capabilities. So while it's a good development, this proposal, I suppose that if a politician of such rank as Vice Premier, Minister of Defense, is publicly proposing something like that, he has plausible expectation that it could be accepted, because otherwise it would be negative for him if he is proposing something which is impossible. But at the same time, we should still remember that our own effort is also the pillar which we should put our efforts on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you said, this is something of one of the pillars. So another pillar, let's jump also into something which is the nuclear umbrella, nuclear sharing. There was that recent report, once again, in the FT about all this, and Poland again being involved in this on nuclear sharing. And if we look at this, and we've heard about this before, I mean, how serious do we treat this FT report and the information we already have? What do you make of this, Poland involved in this whole nuclear sharing program?
As for now, it's just a speculation, and several sources reported to Financial Times that there are talks in this model that while the United States are lowering their presence generally in Europe, both when it comes to the number of troops, but at the same time when it comes to the presence of several capabilities and military equipment, because they need this equipment both in Asia, and also they are still stuck in the Middle East, especially after the war on Iran. So this model, which was described by Financial Times, is that several people in Department of War are debating the possibility of extending the nuclear umbrella of forward presence of nuclear capabilities to countries such as Poland to assure these countries, including Poland, of the strength of security guarantees on the side of United States, and at the same to be able to free these parts of troops and military equipment which are needed elsewhere. So when we look at this as this model, it's plausible in my opinion, but at the same time there are also different views in Department of War, and we see this from time to time that when these discussions outburst and we see the parts of it publicly. So I think that we should just wait and look what will happen.
Mm-hmm. But also if we look at what Poland is currently doing, I mean, huge investor in military infrastructure on many levels, one of the top spenders in terms of defense. We see and have been reporting on it for a while now. But looking at it also from a technical, from a logistical point of view, how ready is Poland to carry on such a role? Does it have the infrastructure? I mean, what would this even look like? How quickly could this be done? So tell us a bit some of the technical elements of Poland can do this.
So when it comes to these technical aspects, there is a need to increase spending on this matter, to prepare the infrastructure, to prepare also the organizational matters regarding the presence of nuclear-capable aircraft. And also when it comes to this part, if there will be such a decision, it will be important factor regarding the calculation of risk of a potential aggressor against Poland. So one thing is whether these capabilities are already in place, but another thing is the strategic signal which it sends regarding the potential scale and involvement of United States in defense of Poland in case of any aggression. So it's a factor which makes this calculation on side of Russia more difficult, with more risks. So generally on our side it would be a good policy to push towards receiving such extended nuclear umbrella. At the same time, I think we should have in mind that Poland is currently developing and also signed recently the agreement with United Kingdom, previously with France. We have several more discussions with bilateral potential treaties, security treaties, and these are also parts which on the one side makes this calculation of the side of Russia more difficult, more risks regarding the cost of potential aggression, both when it comes to deterrence by denial and deterrence by punishment. And also it makes our position vis-à-vis United States better, because we are not only solely relying on them, but we have some other options. But of course, the United States, when it comes to these nuclear capabilities, they are number one. There is no doubt regarding that.
I mean, you alluded on it just a little bit. You mentioned France and the UK. I mean, I remember not that long ago, President Macron was in Poland talking with Prime Minister Tusk about being maybe including that nuclear umbrella of France into Poland. He's traveled to other countries, the UK as well, but the UK is a little bit different, right, in terms of its capabilities. France is really the only one who can do it fully in Europe. So do these things complement each other? Is it now going to be a competition of nuclear sharing, or how do you view the French proposal? Is it an alternative? Can it be both? How do you see it?
Well, first of all, when it comes to extended nuclear presence and nuclear umbrella, it's still finally the political decision, the authorization by the country which is the owner of these capabilities. And for this country is also a great risk, because if they will authorize potentially use of such force, the retaliation will go in their side. So generally, as we had not historically any such situation when nuclear umbrella were used, but at the same time we can argument that there weren't also the situation when countries which were under nuclear umbrella were attacked. It's something we have only a little bit of historical experience regarding this matter. So I think that, as I mentioned before, this is like part of our deterrence, like part of our posture vis-à-vis our enemy. It's a factor which makes the calculation on side of a potential aggressor more difficult, because they have also included the risk that maybe this country will use this force, or maybe if not use the nuclear force, it will engage conventionally, because by extending nuclear umbrella, this country is also signaling its commitment toward this ally. But at the same time, historically, we've seen many situations where guarantees were not working, because the intention of the country which is using guarantees is generally to deter the aggressor, to make it without the war. And when this other side is perceiving the situations as possible to achieve its goals by military aggression, sometimes it makes the other side to recalculate and to retreat. But that's just some general assumptions and some general thoughts, because generally, if we look right now at the Polish security situation, and we discussed several parts, several factors, we said about these pillars that we should develop simultaneously, several ways of increasing our security. My assessment is that it's not critical, it's not really bad. So we are steadily making our part, and at the same time our main potential threat, Russia, is struggling in Ukraine. So we should keep our work.
Right, so there's still lots of work ahead, but you said various pillars all simultaneously, but interesting stuff with Poland very much being ambitious in all of those. Thanks so much, Krzysztof Jaworski, for coming in from the Institute for Security and International Development.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more.